Happy New Year to all those young scientists. Welcome to Fun Science Friday. I'm Mrs. K and this is our first Fun Science of 2022. This program is geared toward ages 4 to 6, about preschool to kindergarten age. So hopefully you picked up a kit at the library or you can use things you have at home. But first, let's see what we're talking about. Here is a clue. This book is called 10 on the Sled. It's written by Kim Norman and illustrated by Liza Woodruff. 10 on the Sled. On a sunlit night neath the snowy moon, there was one on the sled, then two, but soon. Do you know what this animal's called? That's a caribou. Caribou has lots of friends. There were 10 on the sled, and the caribou said, "Slip over, slide over." So they all slid over, and seal spilled out. You can use your fingers to count. You have 10 fingers, so if one slipped out, Now there were 9 on the sled, and the caribou said, "It's snowing, get going." So they all got going, but hare hopped out. A hare is another way to say rabbit. Now there were 8 on the sled, and the caribou said, "It's slicker, go quicker." So they all went quicker, but sheep shot out. Oh no. There were 7 on the sled, and the caribou said, "We're gliding, keep riding." So they all kept riding, but walrus whirled out. There were 6 on the sled, and the caribou said, "We're lighter, hold tighter." So they all held tighter, but fox flipped out. There were 5 on the sled, and the caribou said, "Great thunder, duck under." So they all ducked under, but squirrel squeezed out. Now, after 4, 5, 4. There were 4 on the sled, and the caribou said, "They're chasing, keep racing." Uh-oh, who's chasing? So they all kept racing, but wolf wiped out. There were 3 on the sled, and the caribou said, "They're winning, no spinning." So they all quit spinning, but moose muddled out. There were 2 on the sled, and the caribou said, "Keep trying, we're flying." So they both kept flying, till bear bailed out. There was 1 on the sled, and the caribou said, I'm lonely, I'm chilled to the bone. A reindeer likes flying, but never alone." So 1 through 10 all leapt on again for one more run and a little more fun in the moonlit land of the midnight sun. The end. Looks like they're going down a hill. Well, we're going to make a hill and do some experiments to see how your sled goes down the hill. I'm going to turn this into a hill in just a minute. But before we can talk about sledding, we have to talk about something else that makes us go down that hill. It's an invisible force that's pulling us to the center of the earth right now. Do you feel it on you? It's pushing on you. It's pushing on me. Try jumping up. Do you come back down or do you float off in space? Sure, you come back down. That invisible force that's pushing us to the center is called gravity. Gravity is everywhere on Earth. You can't escape it. Even here you have gravity pushing you down. Over here, gravity is pushing you down to the center of the Earth. So gravity is what's going to pull our sled down the hill. You ready? I'm going to turn this board into a sledding hill. Now, if you don't have a board like this, that's okay. If you have a cookie sheet at home, that would work. You just have to figure out how to prop up one end. You could put some books under one end of a cookie sheet, or maybe a box. But I have this board, and I propped up one end so it's higher than the other. Now, if you don't have little sleds at home, that's okay too. You could use some blocks or maybe some Legos. I happen to have 3 sleds. One has 1 snowman. I'm going to put him right here. This one has 2, and this one has 3. So let's make a hypothesis. Which snowman is going to go down the hill first? Will it be 1, 2, or 3? I'm going to lift my hill now. Remember what that invisible force was that's going to push them down the hill? Gravity. Let's see gravity work. Here we go. You ready? Up, up, up. Oh, there goes 1, 2, 3. They all made it down the hill. Well, let's make it a little harder. This is pretty slippery. What if I were to add this is a piece of plastic that kind of like a shelf liner, but if you have something that's bumpy, you could try that. I'm going to put a sled on the bumpy part, and then I'm going to put on the other side some wax paper. This is going to be the icy part. I gave you some wax paper in your kit if you picked it up. So we're going to try that too. So there's some wax paper. Should we see which one goes now? I have some on the bumpy and some on the wax paper. Oh my goodness! These guys didn't move at all. Let's try that again. I'm going to try it. They're not even budging. Did you know that when I added this bumpy surface, I added friction? Do you know what friction is? Friction is when something rubs up against something else. Sometimes we want friction, sometimes we don't want friction. When you're going sledding, you don't want to go sledding on the grass, do you? Do you go sledding in the summer when it's nice out? No. You need a smooth surface that's kind of like this wax paper, right? What if you wanted to go skiing or ice skating? You would want a smooth surface for that too. I have my little friends here. Let's see what they do. I'm gonna lift up my surface. There they go, down the hill. So, sometimes you want friction and sometimes you don't. Look at Mom's and Dad's tires on the car. They have bumps, right? You want friction when you're driving in your car. Or look at the bottom of your shoes. They have bumps too. You want friction when you're running on the playground. But if you're going ice skating, nope, you don't want those bumps. You want it to be smooth like the wax paper. So test out your sled on different surfaces. Maybe a dish towel, that would work, as your bumpy surface, and wax paper as your smooth surface. What other surfaces could you test with your sled? If you picked up a kit at the library, I gave you a little sled that has a snowman on it that looks like this. You could test this little sled on your cookie sheet. Let's see how much of an incline it needs. I'm going to call this the bunny hill. He's not really budging at all. If I lift my there he goes. Now he's going down. But this is kind of a special sled because it has wheels on it. If you were to pull back on the wheels, he can go, whoop. No, let's try that again. There he goes. It's hard for him to go against gravity. He's going up the hill. Try that on a flat surface. Let's try that on a flat surface. If you pull back, and then there he goes. That's one of Sir Isaac Newton's laws of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Well, the action was pulling it back and winding the wheels up. And when I let go, there it goes. I'm going to try it again on the inclined plane. Pull back. No, it's harder for him to go up the hill against gravity. I think we need to think about how to get our sled up the hill. If you noticed in your kit, I gave you a rubber band and a string and a cup. Yours may not look like mine, but I'm going to show it to you. I gave you a rubber band. I'm going to put it around my snowman because we're going to attach something here. I gave you this little clip like this. I'm going to put the clip on, and then your cup may look different than mine. I'm going to put this cup over the end. And we're going to try to lift my snowman up the hill. Did you see how I put the string on the snowman with the rubber band and the clip? And then my cup is hanging over the edge. I found some Legos at the library. How many Legos do you think it will take to raise my sled, have it go up the hill? Let's count together. 1, oh, did you see it move? 2, it took only 2 Legos to raise my sled. I'm going to try something different now. This time I have a sled, a big sled, and a cup. Let's see how many Legos it takes to lift this sled. 1, 2, did it move? 3, 4, 5. It took 5 Legos. What if I put an elephant in the sled? Let's try it again. I'm going to take my Legos out. This time I'm going to use bean bags. Are you ready, elephant? How many bean bags will it take? 1. That elephant's pretty heavy. 2. It keeps going. Oh, how about 3? 3. Oh boy, there it goes. What if you don't have an elephant to make your sled heavy? Well, I gave you that rubber band, and you could add some weights on here. What if you were to put a little stone in the rubber band, or maybe a metal washer, something to add weight, and then see what different toys you could put in your cup to lift the sled up your hill. I bet you have lots of toys at home you could put in the cup. Well, this is a fun activity for a snowy day. I hope you have fun playing with your sled and thinking about gravity and friction and possibly going sledding outside someday. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, scientists. Bye-bye.